This is Sarah Taggart, Sarah Strassner, and Jimmy Hightower presenting our project, Uncharted Waters, Evaluating Mohai's Maritime Gallery. In total, we interviewed 110 visitors and observed 125 visitors in the gallery, adding up to a total of 213 visitors whose feedback makes up the data used in the findings that follow. It should be noted that the total number of 213 is smaller than you might expect, as we made a point of interviewing and observing the same visitor when possible. As far as visitor demographics were concerned, everything was split very evenly across the board. Men and women were dispersed 50-50, and groups of adults and children were as evenly spread out throughout our data. We wondered how many people were prompted by the front desk at Mohai to visit the fourth floor gallery. We found out that of those interviewed, only 33% were prompted to visit the fourth floor. 67% made it upstairs without any prompt. Our first evaluation question was, how do visitors use and engage with the fourth floor gallery? The sub-questions we explored under this first question were which element of the fourth floor gallery was most impactful, how long do people spend in the gallery, and what elements attract people within the space. To evaluate how long people spent in the gallery, we generated a timing and tracking instrument. It is shown here as a heat map representing the frequency of visitors that stopped or engaged with different elements of this gallery. Something intriguing we learned through this process was that while we expected people to stop at the windows, we did not expect the windows to also be the point of most conversations and reading of gallery material. It was a pleasant surprise to find that these areas serve the visitor in a variety of meaningful ways. As shown in this graph, on average, visitors spend about 7 minutes in the gallery. We asked people what element of the gallery they found to be most interesting, and then least interesting. Here you can see that visitors found the periscope, learning about history, and the windows to be the most interesting parts of their visit. In contrast, visitors found the model boats, the reading of the labels, and the openness of the gallery to be the least interesting elements they encountered during their visit.
Interviewees participated in a card sort where they were asked to rank potential gallery additions from what they find most interesting to least interesting. These are the results of the card sort, with the card sort options along the top. So as you can see, there were two options that were particularly polarizing. The most popular first choice was interactive artifacts like a wheel from a ship, while the least popular was a handout/brochure summarizing key elements in the fourth floor gallery. We asked visitors why interactive artifacts like a wheel from a ship was their first choice, and almost half said they enjoy interactives. Visitors also frequently said that this option would make the gallery look more like a bridge deck. In terms of why the handouts/brochures option was their last choice, more than half said that they don't like or need handouts. Another frequent response was that a handout would entail too much reading. We also asked visitors if they could think of anything else to make this space better, and the most popular answer was something to make the gallery feel more nautical. People also wanted more interactives, more artifacts or boats, and window changes, and the answers just kind of get smaller and smaller from there. Our second evaluation question was, to what extent are people making the connection between the history indoors and the maritime elements outside? So the first step of making that connection is looking out the windows, and 97% of interviewees reported looking out the windows, and the visitors that we observed looked out the windows 3 times during their visit on average. When asked, 76% of visitors saw something in the exhibit that reminded them of something they saw out the windows. The most frequently cited exhibit component for that question was model boats at 63%, while people also frequently mentioned historic photos at 24%.
Our third evaluation question was, to what extent do people realize that the gallery is a bridge deck mock-up? To further answer this question, we asked visitors if they realized that the space was a bridge deck mock-up. 61% of participants said that they were unaware that that was the original intention of the space. We then asked visitors if they saw anything that reminded them of that type of space. 59% of visitors said that the windows reminded them of a bridge deck mock-up. This included their shape, size, and orientation. 44% said the periscope reminded them of that type of space, while 37% said the shape of the room. When asked if there was anything they could think of to add to the space to make it more obvious, 54% of visitors suggested incorporating a ship's wheel, and 31% said instruments or a control panel. The fourth evaluation question was, to what extent are visitors aware of the PSMHS Mohai collaboration? 41% of visitors were aware of the PSMHS Mohai collaboration. Of those 41%, 88% said that they were informed by the sign in the exhibit. So in summary, 1/3 of visitors were directed to the fourth floor gallery by the front desk. 72% of visitors would like to see a ship's wheel incorporated in the gallery. Visitors suggested that signage, objects, or photos could show that the space was a bridge deck mock-up. Visitors also suggested that there should be more about the historical significance of the gallery and the building. And lastly, 40% of visitors liked the periscope and 60% stopped at it.
Thank you!